Hi, and welcome to my quick guide about the Inertia 125 robot and playing this competitively. So 125 is probably the weakest scoring robot of the three options that are kind of valid in this game. But that doesn't mean that it's the least important. It actually has one of the most important roles. Generally, 125 is used as a defensive stealing robot that's really good for beginners to kind of get used to the sim mechanics and understanding how to play the game. So it's really a great robot to start off with. Obviously, its strengths are, um, the fact that you don't have to aim because this is the only robot with the turreted action, so it's a little bit easier to score the balls in the inner port without really trying that much. And it's also really good at pushing robots around, having the highest top speed, and causing a ruckus in terms of defense. For binds, there aren't really any key binds that I'd recommend for this. The only one that I would say that would be good to have is rebinding um, your climber to the triggers. And the reason why that's the case is because you can still drive around. You don't have to take your fingers off according to the default, which is the left and right D-pad. So you can kind of drive around, not have to worry that much about um, the climber going up or down. This is the only robot that doesn't really require an aiming circle, of course, because you don't have to aim. For those of you who don't know, aiming circles are for making sure that you're hitting inner parts, but because it just does its own thing, that just means that you don't necessarily need to use any kind of extra aiming device, which makes it really beginner friendly. In terms of hood position, this is also a really straightforward thing. You really don't want to move your hood position at all. So once once you spawn in, you basically don't have to do anything. This is the perfect angle to make the majority of your shots into the inner. You don't have to do any crazy stuff. Um, if you do press the um, auto aim button, which for me in this case is circle, you can see the dial just moved literally a little tiny bit, like a little bit of an inch, but it makes the inners a little bit harder to get. Still not terrible, still not the end of the world, but you just generally don't want to adjust the hood angle. In terms of shooting locations, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you want to be shooting from on or behind the line. It's really, as you can see, when you're on the line, you're barely making those inner ports. If you get a little bit closer, you'll just end up shooting into the wall, which is a big problem. So in front of the line, see we're not hitting those inners anymore, and we're hitting twos. And then if you go even closer, of course, you're just gonna bonk them into the wall. So you want to be shooting on or behind the line. You can shoot behind the line and still make inners. That wasn't a ton, but basically anywhere on the line is going to be your best shot, and you're going to hit inners just fine there. In terms of autonomous modes, there's a lot of flexibility um, for the Inertia that basically never starts left. So we're going to talk about center first, where there's a lot of different options. So one of the things you can do, the most basic one, is just picking up these middle 5 balls, coming around, and firing them off into the inner port. And then you're happy. You're just going to come over here. You might try and block a robot so that you can steal, or you might try and get back and disrupt another robot. The other thing that you can do, of course, is you can attempt to steal their balls from their robot, and then come and pick up these at the end, shoot them off, and of course you're going to get a couple more balls while removing some of theirs. But of course it's kind of 50-50 if you can outplay them and get a couple balls from their side. In terms of center as well, that's pretty much the two main ones. You can also do a red right one, where essentially you're going to do this, You shoot off here, and then you're going to come and pick up these 5. The line would already be gone because of your partner, and fire off as many of those as you can. Oh, the other thing that I should mention is the other, if these 2 balls are left over, sometimes after shooting these first 5, you have a lot of time, right? So you may be able to pick up these 2 and fire those off as well. As you can see, we hit that in the autonomous period as well. So if they have no short robot, the OG robot in this position, they obviously can't pick up these balls very well. So you may be able to steal them after, or um, even picking up these and then going for the extra 2 and then shooting. All of these are viable options. In terms of pickup strategies, Inertia probably has the worst pickup. It's hardest to get the balls into the robot. My advice is go slow. You can see that if I take this line and just go full speed, we're going to have some issues potentially. Yeah, so see, we didn't pick up very many, and we actually got stuck up on top of them. So generally, you just want to take things slow, which I'll show you again. You just kind of wait for the balls to come into your hopper before driving forwards. Nice and slow, and then you just release. Also, another key thing in terms of shooting, sometimes you can pick up so many balls. Inertia has the smallest hopper in the game, but when you have so many and you try and shoot, sometimes you can jam, which there we didn't really jam very much. Let's see if we can get another good jam. And the gist of getting unjammed is there's 2 different methods. You can either shake your robot, which is my least preferred one, or you can reverse your intake. So yeah, see we have a jam. We can try and shake our robot, and you can see it slowly unjams itself. That works if you just want to use that. It's not the best of way though. So we're just going to talk quickly about try and get another jam here. See we have a whole bunch of balls, and they all cleared. Great. Just going to grab another big chunk of them. And they all cleared again. Jeez. We'll try. Sometimes Inertia is definitely one of the lesser jamming robots, but it does happen fairly frequently. Okay, there we go. So what you want to do, what I do is I just reverse for a little bit and then fire again. That was a little bit too much of a reverse, but it clears your thing way quicker. And the problem with shaking is it's a little bit slower, and you can sometimes miss inners if you shake too much. You can also pick up against the wall, but Inertia is really not that great at it. You got to be really careful. You just got to edge yourself up really slowly, right into that corner, just real slow. You can just see the joystick in the bottom left hand corner, just nice, like little touches there, and unload there. In terms of control panel, you have the control panel on your left hand side of your robot. So that means you can swing in this way. This is going to be, this is one of the robots where it really matters that you're on this side, because this side is a little bit harder, because you really can't see the light or what's happening. And it's really hard to reach on this side to be able to spin the control panel. So you really, really, really want to be on this side when you're doing the control panel. You just lower yourself. You can use slow turn to make the control panel slower. I have it bound to triangle or Y on my controller, which will help you adjust for the position control, or you can be really fast by not holding it. And then, of course, if you press X, it will stop, and that's connected to your intake, or X or A. So the control panel mechanism is connected to the intake. So yeah, you can spin it here. Don't try and do control panel over here. Not a good idea. In terms of climbing, Inertia's pretty versatile. There's a couple things to be aware of. Number one is when you're facing in this direction, here you can actually go into the Blue Alliance's zone. As you can see, we're actually inside the Blue Alliance side a little bit, so you could potentially get climbedy if you climb like this. So generally, don't want to be facing this direction when you're climbing. It's really important to try and avoid climb D. So what we do is we basically just face the other direction, right? So you can climb center pretty smoothly, like so, and the same kind of thing goes for each end. You can climb on the right or climb on the left using the exact same method, like so. The other thing that you can do to allow more room for the robot to come in the center, because very regularly there'll be some last second shots, and you'll try and come and climb in the middle at the very end. If you're a Roboteers or a OG, what you can do is you can just have your one hook just on the very edge, kind of sit here and then climb like so. Or on the other side, of course, you can do the same thing. It's a little bit harder because you can see the color wheel mechanism is there, but you can even climb off of the color wheel mechanism like so, and that will be fine. Last thing, in terms of single player strategy, generally the autonomous period, you pick up as many of these as you can. You come over here, we fire off, we pick up a bunch of these, do a quick turn like this, try and push them in over as much as we can, and fire off as much as you want here. And generally your goal is going to be like a 70, 80, 90 auto. That's a respectable auto. 90 is very hard to get. So yeah, that's the basics of the Inertia robot. Hopefully that was helpful. And yeah,